Hey, Oz,
Right.
what movie we watching this week?
We've got a movie marriage of A Hard Day's Night meets Jersey Girl meets Saving Silverman. This week we've got Tom Hanks written and directed
Oh,
That Thing You Do. Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a movie theme for the month. We go back and forth bringing movies to the theme and we discuss them, break down the plot, tell a lot of jokes, have a lot of fun, and share our thoughts. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
and I'm Curtis.
And we are here to talk about 1996's Tom Hanks written and directed That Thing You Do.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. First and foremost, we want to throw a shout out to our Patreon subscriber. We have two, but we got the next one we'll throw out to next month. But our Patreon subscriber, Melissa L. from Woodstock.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a patron. You can always go to patreon.com and search for Let's Talk About Flicks if you feel like you would like to support the show.
Melissa L. That name rings a bell.
Melissa L.
Yeah.
Melissa.
Melissa.
I should just start throwing the initial of the last name in with the first name and see where that goes. So thank you, Melissa from Woodstock.
It's got a good ring to it.
Melissa. All right, so let's talk about That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
So what do we got for characters?
Characters. So it's Oz's month.
Yeah.
Mooth. It's also his mooth. It's also his month.
It's my mooth.
It's his mooth to narrate the film. So I got the character breakdown. So we have we have Guy Skitch Patterson.
Skitch.
Played by Tom Everett Scott, and he is the second drummer of the Oneaters, aka the Wonders.
Yes.
We have Jimmy, played by Jonathan Shake.
Sure. Yep.
Him too. He's the Wonders lead.
Jonathan S.
Yeah. Jonathan's
from Woodstock.
Also
hope
from
you listen to
That's without to Jonathan S. from Woodstock Hill. He's the
That's right.
the Wonders lead singer, songwriter, and the rhythm guitar player. We have
He's the talent.
basically yes, Lenny.
Yeah, he's the talent.
Lenny Hayes, played by the one and only Steve Zahn. I
love Steve Zahn.
Oh God, he's the greatest. He's the Wonders bass. No, he's the lead guitar player.
Yeah, lead guitar.
Yes, because then we have the bass player,
TB player,
TB player, who was revealed years later, that TB's first name was Tobias.
Yes.
Played by the dumbfounded Ethan Embry. Then we have Faye Dolan, Jimmy's girlfriend, played by Liv Tyler. She's also kind of their promoter I don't know, in a way.
She's the biggest fan by far.
Yes. Oh yeah. We have Tina, played by a breakthrough role for Charlize Theron, Guy's girlfriend in the beginning of the movie. Two more characters I'll mention. We have Del Paxton, played by Bill Cobbs, basically playing Bill Cobbs.
He's playing Bill Cobbs.
He's Guy's favorite jazz musician. And then we have Chad, played by Giovanni Ribisi. He's the Wonders' original drummer.
Don't forget Mr. White.
Oh yeah, that's I. You know what? I had him at the beginning and I skipped him,
And then skipped it.
and forgot to come back. Then we have Mr. Amos White.
Yeah.
The record producer and the Wonders manager, played by Tom Hanks.
Right. All right. I'll admit the movie marriage this week was a little tricky to come up with because, as we talked a little bit pre-show, this movie is very linear. Mm-hmm. It doesn't deviate a lot. It doesn't give you really, it tells this very simple story in a very simple way. And it's a nice little relax. It's one that you doze off for 20 minutes. You haven't missed anything. Mm-hmm. It's a good background kind of movie. It's I found it fun, very innocent, and just kind of there.
It's there, yes.
Couple little facts here. There are two versions of this movie. There is the theatrical cut, which you and I watched. Mm-hmm. There is also a uncut director's cut, I suppose you could call, version, come out a few years later with 39 additional minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. 39 additional minutes. I've actually seen that one. My wife Jenny and I were watching it. I think I'd found it on, I don't know, a streaming service or whatever, and we're like, hey, let's watch that thing you do. This is a few years back, not realizing it was the uncut version, and so it felt long.
I imagine.
An additional 30, but just so many scenes that, like, when you don't know you're watching an uncut version of a movie you've seen multiple times, everything just feels off. Like, have we missed this part before? And but yeah, 39 additional minutes. I also read in the IMDb trivia that Tom Hanks wrote this movie while on his like press tour for Forrest Gump, because he was just so bored giving interviews that he decided to write this film. And I can see the similarities there, because, you know, as we get into the plot, there's a lot of just kind of mundane touring going on from these guys. So let's hop into the plot. Like I said, very simple, very straightforward. We meet Guy Patterson, Skitch. He works for his family's appliance store in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's 1964, and life is very simple for Guy. You know, this is a comedy, but it's not one of those rip-roaring, laugh-out-loud type of comedies. It has its moments.
No
but
guffaw laughs.
No. But it's certainly sweet. And, you know, Guy's he's working. He always forgets to turn the company sign off at the end of the day.
Much to Donnie Darko's dad's chagrin.
Yes, Holmes Osborne is not happy with his decision. I always remember his name as it's, there's two names common in my family. My grandmother's maiden name, or her middle name was Holmes, so it's one of those weird things there. But we meet Guy working for his family, and we meet the Wonders. They kind of cross paths in a little diner. Guy is eating by himself, and the band is over there trying to figure out their name. And it's kind of a fun little, conversation as they're trying to come up with their band name. And, they've heard of other bands with that name, or they've been in other bands with that name. And they come up with the Wonders, spelled Oneders, to which everyone for quite a while mispronounces as the Oneaters, because that's how it looks like it's spelled. And they're coming up with a name because they're going to be playing at the local talent show. Guy goes back to work, and, they kind of have a little back and forth before he leaves about, what he used to be a drummer for, etc. And cut to a little scene where the band's standing outside, and Giovanni Ribisi, who plays Chad, the drummer.
Chad.
He's leapfrogging parking meters in the background of a conversation. And TB Player is also trying, but he can't get up high enough.
Nope.
So Chad just keeps leapfrogging, and about the third time he leapfrogs, he just falls and breaks his arm. So now they're down a drummer, and the talent show's coming up, and this is where the story comes together, where the remaining members of the Wonders, actually Lenny and what was his name? Is it
Jimmy?
Jimmy. Thank you. I was going to say James. That's a little too formal. Lenny and Jimmy, they remember, hey, wait a minute, Guy's a drummer. So they head to Patterson's appliance store, and they ask him if he'd sit in and drum for him. Stop by, we're going to practice a song, so he can learn the music. And then cut to the scene where they're practicing the song.
Guy is bored out of his mind, by the way.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a sweet little slow ballad called That Thing You Do that Jimmy has written, and it's very kind of surferish, it's a fine tune,
sure.
But yeah, Guy is very bored. I've got notes here, and I keep skipping through, but I want to cut back because I've highlighted. It's by my opinion, by far the funniest person in this movie is Lenny, played by Steve Zahn. I love Lenny, so I've filtered in some quotations of Lenny's in my notes, so I make sure not to miss them. And here's one when in the extended version, Faye joins Lenny and Jimmy at Patterson's to ask Guy if he'll play. And Faye says, in response to Chad breaking his arm, she says to Guy, "I've never seen anything swell up so big and so fast." To which Lenny turns to Jimmy and says, "Well, don't take that personally, Jimmy." So I just found that funny. So, and so Guy steps in for Chad. They name themselves the Wonders, and we move on. So talent show night. They're up on stage. Everybody's ready to listen, and Guy he starts pacing out at way too fast. Of course, if you know anything about music, and this is Movies About Music Month, the percussionist pretty much leads the charge in terms of the beat, and he just takes off. All the boredom that he had in practice showcases here, and he is playing this way up tempo.
Yeah, it's like it's like double time, the original tempo.
Double time, and so fast that Jimmy and the others have never practiced this speed, so their first performance is off for quite a bit of the song because they're still playing it at ballad speed, and Skitch is back there hammering it out at double time.
Although Lenny's smiling though.
Oh, Lenny loves it.
Lenny
loves it.
Jimmy's having a fit though.
Oh yeah, he's very prima donna-ish this entire movie, but he keeps yelling, "It's a ballad!" Like, slow it down. But eventually he picks up his play, and they keep up. And by the end of the song, we get a very walk hard.
People are ripping their clothes off.
Yes,
there's a man puking in the corner.
It's a very PG version of that scene of Walk Hard, where everybody's on their feet and they're dancing, because this, at a faster pace, is a very catchy song. The crowd loves it. This talent show leads to a paying gig.
I'm just thinking, it's a song about holding hands.
You can catch, if you want more reference, you can catch us on our other podcast. Walk Hard shows up in every movie.
Yeah.
And so, the talent show performance leads to a paying gig at Via Piano's pizza parlor.
Like an Italian restaurant out by the airport or something.
It's out by the airport. And so they set up, and basically they're just there to play their song.
Yeah.
But it was such a hit at the talent show that the same crowd, all these teens, show up at Villa Piano's
to watch the new house band play.
Right, to watch the house band play. A fan asks if they have a record. Of course they don't. So then they record the single. And now that they're regulars at Via Piano's, they start selling their record. Their, was it a 45?
Yeah, it was a 45.
Selling 45s of their single. It's going nuts. Like, this is a blood in the water to the Teenage Sharks kind of scenario. The local kids love it. A talent scout shows up, a local promoter, Phil Horace. He happens to come into Via Piano's, and he hears them playing, and he likes their sound.
Yeah,
he likes their sound, and he wants to meet with them in his RV. Because
when I want to meet with a talent executive, I'm going to go into his mobile office parked in front of an appliance store.
It's 1964. Yeah, he comes to Patterson's and asks Guy, hey, you're with the Wonders, and come to my office in the back of his Winnebago. So, cut to the band is now there, and he's told him, "Hey, you signed with me. I'll get you on the radio within 10 days." Jimmy's very, I don't know about this. Which Lenny, are you crazy, man? A man in a really nice camper wants to put our song on the radio. I love Steve Zahn.
He sells some of these lines so well.
Oh yeah,
that dumb grin on his face.
Yeah, exactly. He's so happy to be in the moment. And so Phil keeps his promise. He gets the band on the air. And this is probably the most famous scene from the movie, and it's a sweet scene, as the Faye and the band members are kind of spread all through town. Pretty much just on the same strip, really. Yeah. And Faye's got, her portable radio in, and That Thing You Do comes on the air. And I think she was she takes off running and comes across TB Player, who's coming out of like an Army surplus.
Yeah, Army-Navy surplus store, yeah.
Yeah, because he's enlisted with the Marines. We don't quite find that out yet, but He's going into the service. So then, she shares her radio with him, and he hears it. So now they take off running towards towards Patterson's. By the time they get there, of course, there's radios at Patterson's, so they turn the frequency, and it's like they're celebrating, and then a car pulls up, Jimmy and Lenny show up, and it's like, it's euphoria. I mean, the five of them are so ecstatic. They've made it. It's kind of a fun scene. And last week, we were watching Walk Hard. I referenced it when he was running down the road, and I mentioned, hey, it's like that thing you do. It makes sense now that you didn't know what I was talking about.
For the first time in the movie, we hear a guy say, "I am Spartacus."
Oh, and I wish it was the last time he said it.
Yeah.
It was kind of. It was like, okay.
Yeah. I have in my notes as well that, and I have this at least 3 times so far, that the movie keeps cutting back to Faye, and I have in my notes, Faye smiles approvingly. And I have that like 4 times already, where the camera cuts back to Liv Tyler, and she's just like, like she's like just smiling approvingly. Oh, she's just so happy to be there.
Yeah, she's Faye is to the Wonders what like Charles S. Dutton's character is to Rudy Rudiger in the movie Rudy.
Charles S. Dutton.
When like Rudy gets himself out on the playing field, and then they cut to Charles, who's just standing there slow clapping. He's so proud of him. It's like, way to go, Rock.
Yeah, Liv Tyler's just so proud of him.
Right,
so like, proud of the band she raised.
Them's my boys.
Basically,
we've met Tina. Is it Tina? Is that
Tina? Yeah, her character doesn't really matter. She really only matters in the sense that she's played by Charlize Theron, and a very
which at the time she was nobody.
Yeah.
I'd read in the trivia too that she was the first person to audition and the first person cast in the movie. And then, like you said, she plays Guy's girlfriend.
She's basically bored, and she's there to.
Yeah.
Her purpose is to be there, to be bored, and then to leave.
Yeah, she shows up at Via Pianos and then falls in love with her dentist.
Yeah.
And Guy's like, whatever. Like, they never reference her as an ex-girlfriend or anything again. So, Phil, being the promoter that he is, he books him at a showcase in Pittsburgh.
The music capital of the world.
Right, and this show is a disaster.
Oh yeah,
with microphones aren't on.
Kevin Pollak hosting.
Right, yeah, the great Kevin Pollak. It's an absolute disaster. The show. Drums fall over. The microphones aren't on. I mean, it's not working.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Right, dogs and cats raining from the sky.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Right. That's right. It's not going to happen. But that doesn't deter Phil from taking Guy to meet Mr. White. They go to a little restaurant. Mr. White, played by Tom Hanks, who is a rep for Playtone Records, Phil takes Guy to meet Mr. White. Who's he likes the music.
Yeah.
And he offers them a contract in management and lets them know that, hey, if you sign with Playtone, then Phil's not your manager anymore. We are.
And Phil's okay with it.
Yeah, he understands the hierarchy of, hey, I get it. I can't get you any further than this. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
And so
gonna take him on a nationwide tour doing state fairs.
Right. Yeah. And so, Guy's on board with it. Everybody's on board with it except, Jimmy again dragging his feet. But they
prima
talk
donna
into it.
Jimmy.
I know, he is such a prima donna. And so, Mr. White's got some immediate changes he wants to make. For one, Guy, you're wearing sunglasses now. This is your thing.
That's your bit.
Yeah, and as for the Wonders, we're changing the name. We're dropping the ONE, and we're just calling yourselves the Wonders. Which Lenny says, as in, I wonder what happened to the Oneaters. It's just these little background little zings that he's just a fun character.
Mr. White makes sure to keep Faye around as the costume mistress.
Yep, you're the costume mistress because you got to be there. You got to support your boys.
So he recognizes something in her that the band kind of, in some way you can't really pin down. They work because of her presence.
Right. Yeah. There's something about her that helps them be who they are.
Yes, and thus he creates a role for her to play within this.
Yep, she can come along. You just got to call her this. So they join a tour, like you said, of Midwestern state fairs. They meet other acts, learning about the business. They're getting better at their craft, like they're becoming better musicians. Yep. But yeah, if you stand back and you look at a big time roller coaster, there's a good chance you're going to see an uphill and a downhill look like they're crossing over. And this is definitely the projection of careers here. Is we've got the Wonders, who are just a local one-hit group at this point, working their way up in their career, and everybody else on the state fair circuit is washed up and has-beens. Which, if you've been to state fairs, is pretty much how it rolls. You've got young up-and-comers that, local kids may know of, but you've also got,
the paycheck performances.
Yeah, I think Brooks and Dunn are playing at the Illinois State Fair this summer. So there you go.
Cash them checks, Brooks and Dunn.
I don't think it's probably any new material.
You want to hear some stuff off our new album?
It's all right. Our new album, we're Brooks and Dunn. So
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you got that. They changed the spelling. Yeah. So Reba McEntire played in Peoria last night.
Oh, good for Reba.
I know of a couple people that were like, we got to see Reba. So,
I bet you she puts out a good show.
She has to. She was in Tremors, even if she just stood up there. If she would have said,
she has to. She was in Tremors.
Well, she's self-aware enough to give a good show. If it would have said Reba McEntire reminisces about her days, her shooting schedule of Tremors, I would have been there.
I mean, she had her own sitcom, for God's sakes.
It wasn't a bad show. Jenny and I have seen probably all the episodes. It wasn't a bad show.
Yeah, she's an entertainer.
Yep, she's a national treasure is what she is.
National treasure, Reba McEntire.
That had to be a good show. Had to be a good show.
She was in Tremors.
Don't discount Tremors. We should do a sand word month.
There you go.
We'll do Tremors, Beetlejuice, and both Dunes.
And Dune, yeah. And all the Dunes.
Right. Sting Dune and New Dune.
And Timothy Chamomile.
Yeah, Sandworm month. Or we'll just do five version or 5 Tremors. Or Tremor and its sequels.
Tremor month.
Tremor month. We could do it in November. I'll just call it No Tremor.
Oh.
I'll cut that. I'm reaching.
No, you're leaving.
I'm reaching.
No, you're leaving that in. That stays.
You're right.
That stays.
I am. So, all right. Back to the plot.
Back to That Thing You Do.
The hit song "That Thing You Do," which we do hear like 11 times in this movie.
Oh God, you hear it a lot.
There's actually some. If you think about it, like in hindsight, there's some meta going on here, as this clearly is a one-hit wonder band. And one-hit wonder band called The Wonders, and they have one hit.
Yep.
And like a one-hit wonder song, it's an earworm that is just played repeatedly on the air. Well, that's what's going on in this movie. You hear the song like 11 times. And we get kind of a cool, overlapping, how it's climbing the charts. It's as they're touring their state fair, That Thing You Do keeps climbing the charts. Jimmy he wants to get back to the studio. We got to get back. We got to record another album.
He's a songwriter. That's what he does.
He's the talent. We got to get back, and this is where we see him start treating Faye very coldly. He's taken eyes with a has-been on the tour. I don't even remember her name because it doesn't matter. But she's much older, and he's just starstruck by her and her presence.
Well, at one point,
she's a blonde, and and a tight suit. So
well, at one point they're going to their car, and there's like a big mob of teeny boppers, and
they're in Wisconsin.
Yeah, when I think Wisconsin, I think teeny boppers, and they're going to their fancy car, and Faye gets
they're just not so teeny.
A lot of cheese in Wisconsin.
A lot of cheese in Wisconsin. And worst. A lot of different worst.
Faye gets mistaken for a groupie, and Jimmy doesn't notice. She almost gets left behind.
Nope, right. He was fine with it.
Guy goes back for her, though.
Guy goes back.
Yeah, no foreshadowing there.
No. I don't see this romance blossoming at all through the movie.
Yep.
The Wonders reach number 7, and now that they're big time,
they get to talk to Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Now that they're big time, they get to talk to Clint Howard. They get the
Clint Howard treatment. And Mr. White pulls him off the tour and sends him to L.A. for publicity. I almost threw The Bodyguard in my
in your marriage
until I remember that they went to Miami for that. And
that's right,
L.A. So it was there, and I deleted it. I think that's where I added whatever movies I added up there. I can't forget already.
Saving Silverman.
Jersey Girl. It's Jersey Girl. Saving Silverman because Steve Zahn plays guitar and sings.
Well, and it was made. I think Saving Silverman was only a couple years after That Thing You Do, so it's still in that same area.
And it's a very guilty pleasure of mine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, terrible movie, but
awful movie,
but fun.
But everybody knows they're making an awful movie, which is why it's fun. Like, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, and Jason Biggs are your headliners. Like, they're not taking this seriously.
No, not at all.
They're Neil Diamond cover band. Like, come on. It's not like they're in Tremors.
Or the Reba McEntire show.
or Reba. They send him to LA for a TV appearance. Things go off the rails the night before. TB goes missing. He and Guy are like at a diner, and a bunch of Marines walk in, and TB just
starts doing push-ups for him.
I could do push-ups. Well, give us 100. So he just drops, gives him 100
right there at a restaurant,
and Guy just leaves him.
Yeah,
he just. All right, man. He doesn't even hesitate. He just leaves. So he leaves them with the Marines. Then he goes missing. Like, he doesn't show up for the appearance the next day. And Guy's hungover. That night, he went to a little jazz club. Met Mrs. Hanks. As the waitress who was so willing to take him home.
Oh, yeah.
Until she lost him to Del Paxton, who's sitting at a table. Which, of course, as you mentioned before, is Guy's, like, idol.
Yeah, his jazz hero.
And so that's what happens when you go to L.A. You just find yourself in a dive bar, and you find yourself sitting at a booth with your idol, and they open up the...
You find yourself getting hit on by a more attractive than I thought, Rita Wilson.
Yeah, she really was.
Yeah.
She looked good.
She was getting it done.
Yeah, she was. She was filling that little cat suit. Mm-hmm. Her name is Marguerite, which I saw in the trivia. That's actually her birth name is Marguerite.
That's right.
Yeah, so she was picking him up just as quickly as she lost him to Del. But she recognized it. Like, she's like, yep, lost another one.
Lost another one to the jazz player.
I also read in the trivia that Tom Hanks did not want to cast Tom Everett Scott in this film because Tom Everett Scott resembled a young Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks didn't want that resemblance in the film until Rita Wilson talked him into it. So maybe there was something there, and then
little
Big Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Big Tom. Maybe Rita Wilson wasn't acting at the club. Maybe that was her. Like, hey,
Tom Everett. Hanks is back there. Just keep it rolling, boys. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, keep going. That's my wife.
Rita,
my wife. And so, he's hungover, and Mr. White calls his hotel room in the morning, and he does his Tom Hanks start out talking and work his way up to screaming. I think that's in every Tom Hanks voice, where he's from Greenbow, Alabama. It's a Tom Hanks thing. And so everybody shows up at the set of the TV studio. White realizes that player is, the bass player is missing. So he's already got a replacement on hand, an accomplished bassist named Wolfman, nicknamed Wolfman. So they're a full band again. And so they got their TV appearance going. And and it's going okay. Camera starts zooming. I mean, it was a beautiful set, well thought out. They're playing That Thing You Do for the 14th time. The camera comes zooming in to introduce each member to the world. And when they get to Jimmy, says he's introduced as, his caption is, he's engaged. Which angers him.
Oh yeah, that gets under his skin. He notices it. There must have been a monitor.
I know. I thought that too. I thought that was odd.
Because
I thought that was odd.
Yeah, because you saw his eyes like gravitate towards something, and his body language, his facial expression changed.
Right. Yeah. And backstage after the appearance, he lashes out at Faye, blaming Faye for that caption,
for what happened in the production booth.
Right. And Mr. White, he insinuated that it was his choice. He's the one that did it, but it didn't stop. Jimmy lashes out at Faye. Faye, kudos to her, stood up for herself. Yeah. I wasted 1,000 kisses on you, Jimmy.
Faye,
and that's it.
Faye and kissing.
Right.
She puts a lot of emphasis on kissing.
Yeah. Wasted a lot of kissing on you, Jimmy. And they break up. That's it. And Lenny leaves for Vegas with his girlfriend. They get married. It was very, what's that movie where he gets stranded on the hotel roof? The Wolf Pack.
Hangover.
Hangover. Very Hangover-esque, where just almost like a lot of little Polaroids of what happened, But like when Andy Bernard marries Roller Girl when they're in Vegas.
Marries Roller Girl.
And so that's, the next day at the studio, they're ready to lay down some more music. TB is missing. Lenny's missing. It's Jimmy, Guy, and Wolfman.
Yeah.
Mr. White comes in. He's got some new material to record, basically a bunch of covers.
Yeah, covers of other Playtone artists.
Yeah, Jimmy flips out because I'm a writer, I'm a songwriter. Let's do my stuff. Mr. White just gets stern. He's like, "You signed a contract with Playtone Records. Like, we own you. Yeah. You do what I say." And Jimmy quits.
You just right there.
Just kind of this little impromptu. I quit. I quit, and he's done. That's it. That's it for the Wonders. They're done now.
As quickly as they got started, they're over that fast.
Yeah, I mean, guys sitting behind the drums, ready to go, and it just fizzles. Like, it's done. Like, he doesn't even realize what hits him, And Mr. White just tells him, "Hey, it's common. This happens a lot." Tells him, "You got to be out of the hotel by this afternoon because you're no longer under contract. But hey, you know what? You can have the room. They're in like I said, they're in the recording studio. Tells you can have the studio. You go ahead, jam out."
Yeah.
And as he's sitting there, he's just kind of laying down little tracks, doing his own little thing. No recording. They offered to roll tape. He said, "No, I'm just messing." And who shows up?
Dell, the guy.
Dell shows up.
His hero, who he randomly runs into at this dive jazz bar, just happens to walk into this studio.
Del Paxton, who is not or has never been on the Playtone label,
walks into the studio.
Shows up at the Playtone studios to just lay down a track.
Yeah. During the time that was allotted to the Wonders.
Yes. During the time where this is already booked. Yeah. So, Guy and Dell apparently just wanders L.A. I feel like recording some tunes. Let's do it.
This is your studio time? This is my studio time. This is mine.
I'm Del Paxton.
It's my time. Right. My time now.
And so Dell shows up in studio as Guy's laying down his track. Dell likes how it sounds, so he asked Guy if he wants to jam. So they do. They jam, and it's like the best thing ever for Guy. Dell asks Guy, "Hey, why don't you stay in L.A.?" He tells him at the bar before, that bands come and go. And it's true. I mean, you follow the history of music, you're going to see people, all over the place have been in this band and that band, and but bands come and go. It's the music, and so Dell asked Guy, "Why don't you stay in L.A. and just be like a session musician for different jazz musicians? You just play with everybody." The guy knows he's got to check out anyway, so thanks Del Paxton, and guy goes back to the hotel to check out. He runs into, again, and we left him out of the character notes. I probably should have put him in, and I don't even have his name down. The most charming doorman in
L.A.
Yeah, we also forgot the Pretty Woman moment that Faye got, before the TV showing where they whisper away,
glamour up.
Yeah, which was fun. It was fine, but yeah, this is the most magical doorman in the history of film. Twinkle in his eye, so he runs into him and asks where Faye's at. She's in the diner, and so Guy, he goes and talks to Faye, and he tells her, I'm staying.
Yeah,
I'm staying.
She says she's going to go back to Erie.
Yeah, Faye kind of wraps him up around the neck and tells him, none of this would have happened if you didn't join the band. And I mean that as a compliment. Almost like this was all because of you, Guy. Which I guess. I mean, I could see that, but
actually,
from the storytelling,
it wouldn't have happened if Chad didn't.
It's true.
Didn't jump over that meter at the beginning and fall in his arm. So it's really Chad who made it.
Yeah, made him work. If Phoebe Buffay's little brother was better at leapfrog, then this movie would have never come to terms.
If Boiler Room could have gotten over that meter.
Right. But yeah, the movie does put a lot of emphasis on Guy and his story, even though like he joined this band. This song was already written. Like all he did was screw up the tempo on talent show night. She leaves and he kind of has his epiphany that like, wait a minute, I'm in love with her. He's the last person involved in this film to figure that out, because we've all known it. From the first soft focus lens pointed at Liv Tyler. She's either got a very fuzzy face or they had some Vaseline on the camera lens, because
fuzzy face.
Well, she wasn't real defined up there. It was real soft, a lot of soft focus. I think Faye Dunaway has that going on a lot.
I mean,
Morgan Fairchild.
Yeah. She is an elf after all.
She does, yeah.
And elves have that natural glow.
Yeah. This is her fish out of water story.
She's just 2,500 years old, Oz.
Right, she looks good. So, she leaves. He chases her down. He asks her when was the last time she had a good kiss, and then he just, as she's answering, he throws one on her. She's not prepared for it, but then she kisses him back, and that's it for the movie. Yeah. We get some text reveals, kind of some freeze frame text reveals that Jimmy is now a record producer and a lead singer of the Herdsmen, spelled Heardsmen.
I heard that.
I heard that. And Lenny is now divorced. But he manages a casino. Yeah, he married. She was a Playboy bunny. Like that was his big thing. TB Player, he's earned a Purple Heart, and Guy and Faye are now married, and they live in Washington. And Guy teaches jazz. That's it.
So it all works out.
Yeah, like we said, very linear movie.
Straight as an arrow.
There's no Tarantino effect in this one.
There's no Shyamalan twist.
Well, and there's also really no extraneous anything.
No.
You get a couple of needless characters early, but then they drop them off. Like, they introduce us to the rest of the Patterson family, but they're just kind of there for comedy relief.
Yeah.
They introduce us to Chad, but he's not there. They cut back to him now and then. They introduce us to Tina, and then she's gone. I mean, it's just very, very linear. I have one question from last week.
Yeah.
I want to change my from Walk Hard.
All right.
If Nate is dead, right? Nate died. He got chopped in half by a machete.
Wrong kid died.
How does he age into Jonah Hill?
Well, I mean,
he's a ghost.
I mean,
is it like
no? Okay.
He's a ghost. He doesn't age. He's dead.
Maybe it's like Galactus, like he appears to the person based on what they project to see, or based on how they think they would perceive that deity or that being.
Yeah, maybe.
Or did I just blow your mind?
I'm sure that's where the filmmakers are going. Yeah. It's like, hey, if we're gonna have Jonah Hill in this movie, we got to treat Nate like Galactus.
Yep. I mean, I can't watch Walk Hard and not think of Galactus.
And not make Marvel cosmic parallels.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, in that sense, then, Tim Meadows' character is the Doctor Strange of it all. Like,
there you go.
He knows which direction this is going to take him. And he allows him to take those directions.
This is the next logical step for you.
Right. He's seen it all.
That was early Dewey. This is middle Dewey.
It's the middle Dewey. So that was my hump from last week. Yep. Is why does Nate age? He's dead.
a well-timed I might say.
Right. Like I seriously thought about that Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny we keep bringing Walk Hard back up. A, because just you and I love that movie so much.
Yes.
But B, because Early Wonders is kind of like very early Dewey.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is. Yeah. This is if Dewey stayed with his 14-year-old talent show group, it turns into The Wonders.
Yeah.
Is what happens. And that's what's going on here. And,
yeah. So, Oz, at this point of the show, we give our own unique rating about the movie we've been talking about. Oz, how would you rate That Thing You Do! Exclamation point?
Oh, let's see. For a movie about the Wonders, I'll give this 8ers.
8ers. I like it.
An 8ers.
I like it.
How about you?
I'm going to go with, let's go 46 exclamation points.
There we go. So, yeah, I know you weren't as keen on this movie as I was.
It's not bad. It's just...
Right.
It's just kind of there. Like, it's a sweet movie. Like, and I mean that as a compliment to it. But it's also an incredibly simple movie. And not that we need everything we watch and consume to be these, like, thought pieces.
Again, last week we did Walk Hard.
Definitely not a thought piece.
We're not stepping down to this one in terms of simplicity. Like,
but it's
nor are we stepping up next week.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it has about the simplest, one of the simplest narratives you'll ever find in a movie, in a Hollywood produced movie, and it's very predictable. Yeah. Yeah, there's no twists or turns. Like, it's there's no significant character growth. It's just a little tale.
Well, and like we said earlier, it is a writing debut and directorial debut for Tom Hanks. Like, it has that feel of this is your first film.
Yeah.
And he's obviously been in a bunch. And and come 1996. Tom Hanks has really somewhat recently started to turn into dramatic Tom Hanks. Jonathan Demme has a small role in this film. I even left out when they made the movie, the beach movie or whatever. Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those that, like, we missed it. They were a fictional band in a movie, and Jonathan Demme was the director. Like, Demme had directed Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. Like, he wrote this on his press tour for Forrest Gump or whatever. So, like, this isn't really that far into Tom Hanks' career. Like, in 96, you still remember, like, Splash. You still remember Big. You still remember, Money Pit and
it's about
Turner and Hooch.
About a dozen, 14 years into Tom Hanks's career.
Yeah. And so, we're talking about this, 26 years later, to where now when people talk about Tom Hanks, he's dramatic.
Yeah.
This isn't Bachelor Party Tom Hanks. This is Road.
It's not Burbs Tom Hanks.
Right. But this is so late that it's like, Da Vinci Code, Road to Perdition. these are the expectations of Tom Hanks today. He doesn't make comedies anymore, which is really unfortunate because, 80s Tom Hanks comedies they're just nuts. And it's fun to watch him have fun in those movies. And so
this isn't David S. Pumpkins Tom Hanks.
No, it's true. I forgot about David S. Pumpkins. This isn't redneck on Black Jeopardy Tom Hanks.
Or Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks on Celebrity Jeopardy. Yeah,
that's true. Or that. But no. But it's still fun. It's a fun little. You've seen it, and if you don't watch it again, you're not. It's not gonna. I don't know how this could leave a bad, overall bad taste in anyone's mouth of turning it off and being like, well, God, I hate that movie.
All right, as we start to wrap things up, we're going to go into the 3, 2, 1, where Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the movie. In this case, 1996's That Thing You Do. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
Let's see what I can steal from your list this week. My first good is Steve Zahn.
That's one.
Yes. I love Steve Zahn. Where'd he go?
I know,
Where'd Steve Zahn go? He is he's the real life version of the Wonders. He was in this and he was funny. He was in Saving Silverman and he was funny. He's done other things and he's just a fun actor. He's capable, and he's funny and you could tell he's just having fun. And he's the comedy in this movie. Yes. And there's other comedic in here, but he's the straight. I'm just funny. Like his comments are funny. So Steve Zahn delivering his lines with the humor that he did.
And building off that, I think he's the one performance that kind of elevated what the role was given.
Oh, for sure.
Because you put a different actor delivering some of those lines, and they don't quite have the same spark or the kind of zip, the same zip to it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this whole movie, and the only actor in this movie with cred is Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. But he's also writing and directing his first film, so he's got credentials as an actor, but not as a writer-director. This is Tom Everett Scott's first movie. This is one of Charlize Theron's first movies. The guy that played Jimmy just went away.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler, for her successful career, nobody's ever confused her with Meryl Streep. And so it's like Steve Zahn is the only one that really did anything with his role. You got Kevin Pollak, but it's like those people are just so minor that it doesn't matter.
I think you're forgetting Clint Howard.
I am, and Holmes Osborne. Yeah. It's like they're fine actors, but they don't have a role. Yeah. They have a bit. And so you're right. Steve Zahn is the only one that's really like taken his role and done something with it. The rest of them are just kind of, and then Steve Zahn, maybe he's still managing a casino. Oh, I forgot about Ethan Embry. And all Ethan Embry's done at this point in his career is just look like Ethan Embry.
Yeah. Just stand there with your jaw agape.
Yeah, he's played. I think he's played Rusty Griswold at this point in Vegas Vacation, as Nick Papadoulis.
Well, he was in. Was it Can't Hardly Wait? Was that the one
he was in? Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah, where he won Jennifer Love Hewitt.
With J. Love Hugh, and even then he was just like, I love Kurt Vonnegut, and I'm gonna go to writing camp, and I'm like, but that movie followed him, but it wasn't about him. Yeah. I mean that movie was decent because of everyone else. Mainly Seth Green. And that movie was good because of Seth Green. Playing his drawing a blank. What was Sacha Baron Cohen? Ali G.
There you go.
Seth Green in his Ali G impersonation.
Proto Ali G.
Yeah. So my first good is Steve Zahn.
Okay. What's your second good, Oz?
My second good, I enjoy movies that end in text cards. I don't know.
Well, you get to know what happens to the characters.
I do.
You get some finality.
I love the wrap up of. I just do. Animal House does it, and Animal House is a fun movie. But when you've got either freeze frame or whatever, but when you throw on there what happened to the characters after the movie, it just gives me some continuity in their lives, and I just enjoy them. Like, it come on, I was like, "Aw!" I just like to know what's happening. So that's my second good movie. It's a movie that ends in text cards.
That's what I'm getting for you for your birthday next time.
Don't give it to me. Just tell me what you're going to be up to, and I'll be
just,
fine.
Just a freeze frame with some.
Just send me a picture of what you're going to be doing next week, and I'm going to be set. And so, and my third is, it's just, they only refer to Ethan Embry as the bass player. Yeah. Even when he's not around, like, everybody else has a name, and they just keep, where's the bass player? Like, yeah. And even in the credits, they just refer to him as the bass player. Well, IMDb has him as TB player.
Yeah. Well, and that's like the bit that, like, the bass player is the most forgettable member of most bands.
Yeah. And that's why it's funny. It's where's your bass player?
He's definitely not Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No. He's not Wolfman either from the wonders that hit TV. So those are my three goods. How about you?
My three, it's a very sweet movie. Again, you get, like, the good feels, the good vibes. There's nothing too down about this movie. There's no tear jerking moments. There's nothing too heavy handed. It's just a sweet movie, and if you like sweet movies and kind of syrupy movies, and cool, and you can't help but feel a little bit of that sweetness when you watch.
So you're saying you weren't loving it lots and lots? the opening song to this movie.
I was
that Tom Hanks wrote.
I was tolerating it.
Loving you.
I was tolerating it some and some. My second is Tom Everett. Sure, Tom Everett Scott. I guess. Okay, he was fine. He played the lead character, and
this is his best role for sure. Yeah. It outshines his performance in Dead Man on Campus with Mark Paul Gosselaar and American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's easy to do so. It's the bass player of the American Werewolf series.
I mean, he's fine in the role, and it looks like he can play the drums. So, I mean, whether or not he can, he learned how to fake it enough. So
I did read Steve Zahn was the only one capable at playing their instrument, but they dubbed over everybody anyway. But Steve Zahn actually did know how to play guitar, so good for you, Steve Zahn.
Yeah, and okay, Tom Everett Scott. I mean, there was that one scene where, like, he's selling. I think it was right before Liv Tyler ran in screaming, where he's selling, like, appliances to someone, and he's like, "Well, it comes in white or taupe or beige or
right."
It's like, I chuckled at that. Way to go, Tom Everett.
Yeah. He's loving his life as an appliance salesman.
And my third good, which I'll lean into this one a little bit more than my attempts at goods with the first two.
Your okays.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the now defunct band Fountains of Wayne, and their songwriter Adam Schlesinger, who sadly passed away a year or so ago, I believe from COVID complications. Wrote that thing You Do. And this movie came out a couple of years, I think, before their first album hit. I think it was their self-titled album that had Radiation Vibe on it, and Leave the Biker, and they went on to do some really good stuff. They're most known for, their one kind of breakthrough was Stacy's Mom, which is a good song, but but they've done a lot of stuff. If for anybody who's a fan of power pop bands, kind of pop bands that have like a hint of alternative, or even the other, like, alternative bands that kind of lean heavily into pop. Fountains of Wayne are great, and
they are, and the range on them too. Yeah. Like, if you've heard Stacy's Mom, use that as a gateway. Yeah. But the ability of these guys far exceeds that. I mean, you've got some songs with, like, country western overtones. Yeah. You've got some with synthesizer. I mean, they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, and everything's great.
Were really good at what they do.
Utopia Parkway is an amazing album, and I forget the. Is it Welcome Interstate something or other? I think.
Yep. Probably Welcome Interstate Love Song.
There you go.
I think it was them and no, it's not, but it's them and them and Stone Temple Pilots crossover.
But yeah, so
no, it was Welcome Interstate something. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's just really good. Really good.
Yeah, really good band.
Red Dragon Tattoo's a great song.
Yeah, good stuff. So Fountains of Wayne, Adam Schlesinger, who wrote That Thing You Do, kudos just for being involved, because Fountains of Wayne is a great band.
They are a great band.
Two bads, Oz. What are your two bads for That Thing You Do?
It was really crappy of Guy to change the tempo of the song on talent show night without any warning. Like, it's not your band. Like, yes, you were bored, but you were asked to fill in for Chad to play a song that's already written, and like the night of their very first performance of the song in a public setting, he changes the tempo. And like yes, it worked out for them. Obviously, just fine. But that was really crappy for a fill-in drummer.
I didn't think of that, but you're right.
It was awful. Like,
he was bored.
The fact that but the fact that and if the movie wasn't kind of about Guy, as along with like if I were the rest of the band, if Jimmy especially, I'd been like, you're out, man. You're done. But there's too much stardom in the winds, and that was really crappy of him, though. Or cringe, as the kids would say.
Cringe.
And my second bad. What was the point of Tina, Charlize Theron's
I was debating
character?
on using that one for my
Right. Well, you can. What was their point? Like, I mean, she was bored. Like, Guy was bored with practice, and then the Wonders had a little thing. But even by Via Piano, she was gone. Mm-hmm. Like, they played there. She came to their first couple of shows, and then she blew it off because she had a dental cleaning, which she actually scheduled, and then fell in love with her dentist, and that was it.
You could argue the only point to the character was that because she broke up with him, it clearly establishes to the audience that Guy is now single, and is single for the moment at the end.
Yeah, but you had Charlize Theron, and you ended up with Liv Tyler.
You had Furiosa.
That's what I was gonna say. You had Furiosa pre-apocalypse. And you ended up with the lone survivor of The Strangers.
What's the movie that Charlize Theron won the Oscar for?
Monster.
You had Monster.
You had Monster, and you left her, and you let her go for Empire Records, which is a fine movie. Don't get me wrong. So that was my what was the point of her? Yeah. Oh well. You're right. Maybe it was established that Guy is no longer in a relationship. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. So. But again, there's other ways to do that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By just even saying, he's single.
We need a reason for him to be single for her at the end.
Right.
So Charlize Theron, you're gonna run off with a dentist.
He was a hunky dentist. He was a good-looking dentist.
He was a good-looking dentist. I let him drill my teeth, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Literally, I would let him drill my teeth if I needed.
Right? Yeah, I got a root canal that needs done. This is a PG show, folks. I hope your mind didn't go there.
I was just talking about dental work. I don't know what you're inferring.
Right. Tune in Thursday for our next episode of Dental Talk.
For our next episode of Apologies to our PG audience.
Yeah, we're turning into the Disney Plus of podcasts.
I know.
Here.
They got Daredevil now.
I know, and a lot of people are like, what?
There's a lot of pearl clutching because nothing in Disney's history has ever been wrong.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, anything released under the Touchstone label is a Disney film. And if you've ever seen the Touchstone logo at the beginning of a film, Disney put that out without Disney's name on it. So there you go. That's what you learned today. What are your two bads?
My two bads are, I'll go with Jimmy quitting that fast.
Oh, he was rapid.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. So, Mr. White says, hey, you're not playing your songs. You're going to play these covers. And 30 seconds later, Jimmy quits.
I quit.
Just like that.
Snapping his fingers to a little
I quit.
Little tune.
Hey, I quit.
Yeah, real good song you just wrote there, Jimmy.
Yeah, no wonder your music's awful.
I quit and I quit and I quit. Way to go, pretty boy.
It's just like, okay, we need to wrap up the runtime here, so he's out,
Right.
and I don't know, it just...
But meanwhile, the extended cut has an additional 39 minutes. So if you love that thing you do and you want to see more of that thing they did, just look for the extended cut.
It's Jimmy's descent into madness. It's like 6 months later, he's in an alley with like a heroin needle, and
he's climbing up buildings in his underwear, yelling,
"I'm Zeus!" As I said that out loud, I knew it was going to come back as soon as I went that route.
He's flipping cars over in the street.
You don't want none of this, Jimmy. I think I do.
Quitting bands.
Ripping sinks off the wall.
Yeah, that's all the extended cut.
It's all there, folks. It's all there.
Make sure you check it out.
Then he reconciles with his 38 children with a catch.
Right. Because he's 71-year-old Jimmy.
Oh man, second week in a row I'm in tears, and because we're and also,
it's because of Walk
because
Hard.
second week, yeah, because of Walk Hard, not because of this movie.
It'd be interesting to see how we fit Walk Hard into next month's theme.
Oh, we'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there.
Oh.
My other bad. I found it boring. I don't know if I feel like I have to apologize for that or not.
No, you don't.
It's a sweet movie, but sweet movies can be boring too. I was bored.
Yeah, they can.
I was bored.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for folks who like this movie. It's a sweet movie with some sweet performances, but it's boring. I was bored.
Okay. That's okay.
I don't know why I feel guilty. I feel guilty for knocking this sweet movie.
Oh, good Lord. We've covered duds on this podcast, and we're only 21 episodes in.
Yeah, but I mean, those were supposed to be duds.
This is History of the World Part 1.
Yeah, oh, true. Yeah, you're right there. That was a dud.
That was a dud.
Oz, what's your one, huh?
My one, huh? Okay. I'm going to kind of piggyback on your second bad.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy quits the band. In the cue card, or the title card afterwards, Jimmy is now leading a new band called the Herdsmen, who has signed to Playtone Records. Why is Jimmy's new band signed with Playtone Records after the clearly nasty fallout that just happened in this film? I found that odd.
Maybe he was contractually obligated.
But wouldn't they all be?
I don't know. I
just found... Because Guy's the guy. I mean, yes, they all signed, but Guy was the face of the band. I mean, according to this movie, he's the one.
I mean, he wore the sunglasses.
Right, he's the one that Phil Horace came and sought out, in the RV, and then he's the one that Phil took to Mr. White. And so, but I just found it odd. Like, why is Jimmy's new band? Not on Playtone, not even necessarily Playtone's air, but why would Jimmy want to sign with the label he just quit? It just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed odd.
Yeah, I can see that.
That was my hunt. Like, no, like that was dumb. Why would you want to do that, Jimmy? All right, what's your hunt?
I'm gonna go with a hunt I'm not gonna use, and Melissa told me this would not work, so I'll give like the 20-second version. My original,
like, wouldn't you be using it?
No. So I clearly won't be mentioning it. Right. My original.
So strike this from the record, folks. This is not his hunt. So we're just gonna record it forever.
My original hunt was that the guy who played, I think it was a Got Milk commercial, or like a series of commercials, and it was like the Aaron Burr peanut butter guy.
Okay.
Like he was like this guy's listening to like a radio quiz or something, and like who shot like Hamilton.
Aaron Burr. I remember.
That guy was the heckler, and so my original hunt was why not just have him heckle with peanut butter in his mouth? But Melissa said that would be stupid.
It's a stretch. Is this the same Melissa L from Woodstock?
It could be.
Have you been talking to our Patreon subscribers?
Well, I got to keep the customers happy. That's why I'm not using this one. So
thank you, Melissa L.
Thank you, Melissa L.
if you become a Patreon subscriber, you get a say in what we put in the podcast.
You too can talk Curtis out of using ridiculous huhs every week.
Which is interesting because I spent most of my youth talking you into doing things you didn't want to do.
These are facts.
And
these are facts.
And
folks.
now your wife is talking you out of things you wanted to do.
It's balance. It's everyone can use balance.
There you go. I'm glad you stood up.
So my real and we briefly mentioned this earlier, is that after Jimmy quits and the studio clears out and and guys in there just kind of messing around on the drums. Mm-hmm. Who just happens to walk back in, but Del.
Del, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He happens to run into him, and then he happens to walk back in. Okay, sure. Hollywood magic, right. I get that, but
it's a little guardian angel thing going on there, I guess. But yeah, it was, it was a stretch. Like, oh, look, like we joked earlier. Del walked into someone's recorded or scheduled studio time to just jam.
So there is. There's Del just happening to be there during someone else's scheduled time.
Right. Nice job, Bill Cobbs.
Yep. So that's my So that was 1996's That Thing You Do, written and directed by rookie writer and director Tom Hanks.
Right, Thomas Hanks.
T. Hanks.
Right, exclamation point.
Exclamation.
One of my favorite jokes out in the world is I've seen it on 2 occasions in my life, is fast food restaurants a lot of times, and it doesn't happen as much anymore because they clean it up, but there would their trash cans would say thanks on them. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it 2 different times in 2 different places, but someone will go up and they'll put they'll color in they'll color in a period after the T, and then put a Tom Hanks sticker on the door. So it says T. Hanks instead of thanks, and I'm like, that's kind of funny. So yeah, that, like you said, that's it for That Thing You Do. Mm-hmm. In wrapping up before we get to next week, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. You could catch us on Patreon. Of course, we're on YouTube. You may be watching this right now. Thank you. Your favorite podcast app. Like, subscribe, review, comment, share. Tell everybody out there. Our download numbers are increasing, which makes me happy to see.
We're on the road to 20,000 episodes.
Yes, right. Before you know it, we're going to be touring Midwest state fairs.
Mm-hmm. Surviving on corn dogs and elephant ears.
That's right, and so we're looking good there. Walk Hard had 27 downloads, Hearts Beat Loud 35, Legends of the Fall 50. Scott Pilgrim's still sitting solid at 5,
which I still don't understand. That boggles my mind.
I know.
Whatever.
That's fine. But yeah, so you could catch us wherever you catch podcasts. Again, on YouTube, all that fun stuff. What are we catching to wrap up?
Yeah, because we got 5 weeks for this month as far as how our calendar works.
1 week for each download of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Just like how we planned it.
Right. Yep.
So we're going to wrap up this month movies about music with This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah. What better way to end a month than that gem?
Oh, what a great movie. Oh, looking forward to discussing that one with you next week, guys.
Yeah, because we've each seen it 100 times. So, very much looking forward to talking about that one as well.
We've toured the world and elsewhere,
and we will keep it PG.
Yes.
We will keep our explanations of Smell the Glove in check.
Despite how
the blackness level of that album
despite
cover.
How upset Fran Drescher is.
Right, she's very upset.
She is.
But yes, I'm looking forward to next week for sure. So, you want to take us out?
Sure. For who are we? I'm not used to doing the wrap up. You just threw me the wrap up.
Well, it's because you're confused. You're getting mixed up of all the different podcasts that we do.
For the Joe Rogan show, we are.
Is this the Mark Maron show or is this the Dental Talk? Which one are we doing this week?
For Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Curtis.
For Conan O'Brien Meets a Friend, I'm Oz. All right, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for coming.